What's something that you're like, this is a little bit hard for me to get used to?
Yeah, we have a definite answer for that. Ooh.
You should come to Korea because this.
Because of tteokbokki.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So today I'm here in the streets of Hongdae, the busy streets, people walking around, going to bars, going to restaurants, having fun. And we're asking people, traveling and living here, what are some things that are hard? You're finding them difficult to get used to. Things that, you try and try, but it just doesn't match with you. Maybe your culture, maybe your personal preference. And then I'm asking people the opposite. What are some things that you actually prefer to your home country? Things that you've gotten used to and you actually love. Also, if you're currently studying English, I recently released my course, Sean의 살아있는 영어. If you're looking for a structured way to learn English, this is a really good course. I highly recommend it. Click the link down below to watch a free sample. All right, without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
So I'm Toby, and I'm from England, the UK.
My name's Blake, I'm from London.
What brings you to Korea?
Just visiting really, just come for a nice break from work.
Just seeing what it's like, how different it is. It's really striking.
This part about living in Korea might be hard to get used to. I'm wondering if anything pops in your head.
The food. It's hard to get used to, but once you try it, it's about trying things. And once you try it, you won't go back.
This is quite like a small one, but I've really noticed it. No one holds doors for each other at all, like ever. It's just like a really bizarre thing. Obviously, like in England, it happens all the time, but here we've just noticed that it's not like no one's being rude. It's just the way it is. Like that took some getting used to. Like walked into a few doors to start with. And, yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, but yeah, we're okay.
Interesting. So maybe it's like the stranger to stranger kind of communication or gesture. Culture is very much absent here compared to the West, particularly the UK.
Yeah, definitely. It's like where we're from and the way we're brought up, you're kind of assumed to be friends with strangers until there's a reason not to be. Where here I feel like it's the complete opposite. Like until they're not strangers, you're not expected to go like the extra mile, like hold the door for someone or something like that.
Kind of now curious about like maybe the opposite. Something you're like, oh yeah, if I lived here, I would easily get used to this and I would actually like it a lot.
I mean, you got the normal answer of like soju, like that's pretty great. The food is also really great. So once you do like take the initial trying it all, it's so good. It's so much better than home. Yeah, the food here is just tenfold better. It's so good.
Hey guys, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
I'm also from Turkey. I'm the big sister. My name is Tuna.
You guys related?
Yeah, siblings.
You can answer for her. How did you lose your voice?
We were doing karaoke last night and she was screaming so loud, so she lost her voice.
Oh goodness. So what are you guys doing in Korea?
We are just traveling. We've been interested in Korean culture, like K-pop, K-drama, like since middle school, high school. So we just like came to, live our dreams.
Korean culture, is it really popular in Turkey?
Yeah, it is really popular.
Other countries or whatever?
Yeah, brother countries and like the girls like it very much there.
Oh yeah? You came here, new language, new people, new culture, new faces, new food, new everything. What's something that you're like, this is a little bit hard for me to get used to?
First, we feel very familiar to here, but the one thing that we are struggling with right now, actually we like Korean food a lot, but like the smell, streets smell food constantly, and it's just like we can't eat anything. Like today, like we just ate like a pancake and we like ate it half, and like we didn't eat anything because the smell makes us a bit sick. And we like Korean food.
Okay.
Like, we eat like a lot in our country too, but that's what I'm struggling with.
Okay, let me try to understand this. So you're just walking around and you're smelling food from the streets.
Yeah, everywhere.
Even now.
Yeah, don't you smell it? I smell it.
It smells like fish.
Fishy, kinda.
It smells fishy.
And
Maybe
we are
I'm
not
just used to it.
Yeah,
I've been here for 10 years, so maybe I'm just used to it.
Yeah, no judgment. It's just like...
It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
So you're smelling food, you're smelling fish, Korean spices, everything, and it's making you lose your appetite.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but maybe it's also same in my country too. Maybe like other people that coming from like different countries also like struggling with the smell of Turkish food, but we are just used to it.
Yeah.
But right now, that's what we are struggling with.
Wow, okay. How about the other way? Like, okay, I could get used to this. This is cool. This is awesome here. I wish I had this where I was living.
In our country, like we can't find this youthful, like this lifestyle. And here you just like, you wanna go there and like have fun every day. Like we just wanna be here. We just wanna, stay in the moment, like watching lights, people and stuff. Yeah, I wish like we had this in our country too.
Hey guys, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
So I'm Howard and I'm from Ireland. Cool. Yeah.
Sammy, I'm from England.
And Ronan from Ireland.
What brings you guys to Korea? Are you living here or just visiting?
So I'm actually studying in Hanyang University. Yeah, I'm doing a Korean course for the summer.
I was in Japan recently, so I just thought I'd come to Korea just to visit.
He's actually my brother, so I'm just visiting him.
When first coming here, and since you've been here for a while, I'm wondering like, what's been like a little bit kind of difficult to get used to?
The culture sometimes can be a bit difficult, and when you kind of veer off from like Itaewon and Hongdae areas, a lot of places are apprehensive about foreigners.
Okay.
So that can be a bit, your first 2 or 3 rejections, like no foreigners allowed, can be a bit heart-wrenching, but after that you get used to it. And
what kind of establishments rejected you? Was it a club or bar?
No, clubs. Only clubs.
Only
yeah,
clubs.
Only clubs. So I don't know why that is. Is it because of the American soldiers or something like that? I don't know. It's been clubs.
It depends on the club, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Something that I did notice was I was waiting at the train station. I see a lot of guys just like approaching girls and stuff.
You do?
Yeah, I don't know what it's for. I'm just like, I don't know, it's kind of funky, in my opinion at least. We don't really see that much in like England and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Just like guys with like things that go around and like approach girls and they follow them around with like their little whatever they're trying to sell or something.
Oh, they're selling something?
Maybe, I'm not too sure to be honest. I don't know what they're doing, but I thought it was kind of interesting, yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, you're thinking that maybe these guys are trying to get their numbers to like date them?
Maybe.
You're not sure. We're just theorizing right now.
Yeah, honestly, I was just trying to figure out what they were doing. To be
Have
honest.
you never approached a girl during the day?
Not just like not like that. It's a difficult question. Like, yeah, it's
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, honestly.
Where would be the best place to approach a girl or a guy in England?
In England,
in the bar?
Well, I go to university, so it's just just within campus and stuff, and like in clubs, like. That sort of stuff, just a basic answer to be honest.
I'm curious now, like anything that was different, you had to get used to it, but now you prefer it. You're like, oh, I like this now.
Yeah, even public toilets. Like back home, public toilets are a no-go zone really. But here, like, if you're stuck in a subway station or on the middle of the street or in a park and you see a toilet, yeah, it's going to be fine. I mean, it might have the stick soap that you have to like do this to, Other than that, it's all good, yeah.
Right on.
I do quite like the fashion and like the people are very like open to like expression in terms of like clothing. I feel here it's definitely easier to see a lot more people wearing like a lot of different things and experimenting a lot more. And there's a lot less judgment I feel for certain types of like fashion.
Yeah.
Whereas in England you'd see someone wearing something very different, people would judge them.
The people are very friendly, generally. Yeah, of course we talked about some establishments don't let you in. But yeah, that's just the way it is. But generally people are super friendly, old and young people.
Yeah, maybe because you guys are so cool. Maybe that's why.
Well,
Hey guys, how's it going? What are your names? Where are you from?
I'm Lisa, I'm from Denmark. Yeah.
I am Bertram, I'm also from Denmark.
Are you a couple?
No.
Brother, sister?
No.
Friends?
Yes.
All right.
We've heard the brother-sister thing a bit.
A lot.
A lot.
But I think your hair color is similar, that's why.
He looks very similar to my brother. It's quite scary.
There you go. What brings you to Korea?
I've been studying Korean for around 2 years, and it's my second time here. So
한국말 잘하세요?
아니요, 잘하기는 못해요. 잘 못해요. 네, 근데 지금은 공부하고 있어요.
오, 잘하네.
Yeah, I understood none of that. I've been to Korea before, just for fun, but then I also just want to come back, and then I'm also studying Korean.
When coming to Korea, maybe the first time you can remember it, it's different from Europe. I'm wondering, like, there's certain things you have to adapt to. Food, people, manners, the weather. I'm wondering, what's something that's, like, difficult to adapt to? Like, you're having trouble getting used to this?
Being able to get, like, proper breakfast, because everything opens at, like, 11 here, so it's really difficult to get, like, proper breakfast.
Right.
But then also just not being in the way for people and just speaking politely is also a bit different from Denmark, where everyone is not even close to as polite.
Oh, so people are more polite here.
Way more.
So in Denmark, do people just like smack you in the face or what?
Not necessarily, but it's more so we don't have nearly as much respect for each other, and we don't really show that verbally either.
So what are some things that like you came here and you're like, wow, this is awesome. It was hard to adapt to at first, but now I like it.
For me, it's definitely the meals, about how everything is about sharing like a bunch of dishes with each other. Because like in Denmark, when you go to a restaurant, you'll get your own dish, you'll just eat your own dish. But like the idea of like you get a dish and then you share it with everyone, it's great. I really love it here. It's like even if I don't like the food I got, I can still eat a bunch of other stuff, and it's like that's really great.
So more of that collectivist food sharing culture.
Yeah, because like in Denmark, it's more so, it's mine, it's my food, it's mine, get off. You have your food, don't touch mine. It's more so that than here where you, for example, Korean barbecue, you order for the entire table.
Yeah.
And you share it together.
There's definitely something about like the respect between ages, like the oniopa, that entire situation. It's like very weird for me. I still can't get used to it.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of cool, like the way they respect like older people. I feel like they really care a lot about it as well. That's another thing I was very surprised about when I first arrived. It's like how much they care about it. Are you the same age or are you like apart? So.
If you see someone younger than you, do you want them to respect you more?
I wouldn't say no, because I'm still from Denmark, and from Denmark it's just like everybody's on the same level.
Everyone's equal.
What if they're like, oh, you, on me?
It feels very weird still, because I have some friends that I got while staying here in Korea, where we mostly also try to speak Korean together. And then when they do that, it feels very off. It feels
you just can't
very
get used
unusual.
to it.
It's like it's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hello, my name is Anna. I'm from Brazil.
So what brings you to Korea?
So I'm a model actually, so I'm working here. I guess the old people, they are more close-minded.
Yeah.
So I think they're not like really happy with foreigners.
Is there a specific example that makes you think that?
For example, I went to a convenience store. I was just like waiting there for a bit, and the guy there was a bit rude with me, and I did nothing wrong, so I was like kind of shocked. And the drivers also, they're like a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm feeling here.
The taxi drivers.
But I'm comparing with other countries in Asia. That's
yeah. I think a big thing too is like Koreans are pretty close with other Koreans too.
Yeah.
So people don't talk to each other in the street much here.
I'm just comparing my experience around the world.
Totally.
But I just arrived, so maybe my mind will
closed.
change. Yeah, my mind will change soon, probably.
Okay. If you make Korean friends too, yeah, that might help. You should come to Korea because this.
Because of tteokbokki. I'm just joking. How the city is clean, it's completely clean. You cannot see like any trash on the street.
Yeah.
This is really good. Comparing with my country, also, this is perfect.
How about the smell? A lot of people were saying that there's some weird smells here. Do you have an issue with that or no?
For me, I'm already like fine with that. The smell is fine and it's kind of similar with other countries.
So not an issue?
No, I'm fine with that.
Interesting. So that's really case by case, person to person, right?
I think so, yes.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Alina. I'm from the UK. I live in London.
How long have you been in Korea?
Since August of last year.
And what are you doing here?
I'm an exchange student for 1 year on my year abroad at Seoul National University.
When you first got here, you must have been like slammed a bit with culture shock. What was something that hit you and you're like, I'm having trouble getting over this?
Oh, it's funny. I've already been here before.
Okay.
So I was here for summer school at Korean University for 2 months. But when I first got here, I think it was the sewer smell. Because I came right in the middle of summer and the humidity, and it was disgusting. But I'm also Indian, so like I can deal with spicy food. So Korean food really isn't like that much of a shock. And also London's so like diverse, so we get all sorts of food. So I've eaten Korean food before. Also, I think just like how nice people are as well. People are really, really nice here.
Couldn't get used to it.
No, because I'm obviously in the UK, everyone's really, really angry all the time and like miserable, and it's just a thing. But in Korea, everyone's really nice and like happy to serve you and stuff like that. And you don't have to tip. Like tipping culture isn't a thing here, where I know in America it's really, really bad.
Terrible, like awful. So bad that like I'm ordering a cookie And she'll put this screen that's like 20% tip.
It's like you don't need to tip, you're just doing your job. It's really stupid.
Right? My rule is if I'm standing and I have to order, I don't tip. So you couldn't get used to the sewer smell.
No.
You're not used to this humidity.
No, it's really bad here.
So how about some things that you got used to and now you actually perhaps prefer them?
Definitely, I was telling my friend about this, the transportation system is like one of the best I've ever experienced. Like, obviously the underground is like dirty, loud, noisy, not like organized. So here it's like there's aircon, there's Wi-Fi, it's very modern, it's very clean, and people are very respectful as well. I think yelling in restaurants, like yelling for the waiter, like not like just like hinting at them like you would do in America or the UK. So yeah. So I do like that.
You like the directness.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm ready for my dessert. Come over and give me dessert.
Yeah, and honestly, like when I first yelled, I felt really awkward because I was like, "Am I just yelling at you?"
Tokyo.
Yeah. But now it's like just natural, and a few of my friends have visited, and I'm like, honestly, just shove yourself into the train, yell at them, like it's fine. It's just the culture here, and I think I prefer it.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Lila, and I'm from America. I actually came to Korea first in 2019. I was here for high school, and then COVID hit, so I went home for a bit, and then came back again since 2022. I'm a student at Yonsei.
Studying what?
International Studies and Political Science.
Cool.
I am dating a Korean very seriously, and I think I've had to understand the Korean mindset at a deeper level now. He's lived abroad as well, but I think still there's a big difference between an American ideal and a Korean ideal.
It's interesting because when you date someone, a lot of those differences come out a lot, right?
Yeah.
Have you met his family?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the big scary part for me. Like hoping his family takes me in and likes me and all that.
Did they accept you?
Yes, they have. Completely with open arms. I've been very, very loved by them. They've done a lot of good stuff for me.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. Oh, one kind of not deep thing that we go back and forth about sometimes is sarcasm.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I feel like Americans are very sarcastic, and we see it kind of like even with my own family, I use it as a way to get close to people.
Humor.
Yeah, but he doesn't like it at all. He sees it kind of as like disrespect.
What's the example of your type of sarcasm?
I don't know.
Hey, Einstein.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, buddy. That kind of thing, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really land well on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it. I've told him like, oh, this has been integrated into my personality. Sorry, but yeah, he understands when it is sarcasm completely, but he still thinks it's just like my attempt at kind of being mean. So he doesn't understand that I'm trying to be jokingly,
like the teasing.
Yeah, but it does come out when we're fighting, so I can see why he would think it's me being mean.
Ooh, yeah, that makes sense. So now that you're living here, anything that you kind of prefer now, you like, you've gotten used to, you're a fan of?
I'm actually a huge advocate for South Korea. I love this country. Some of the main things for me as like a young adult, I would say, is feeling safe, but still being able to be completely comfortable and, you know, going out in a big city, which is a lot different from where I was raised in San Diego. Yeah. And I think walkability is awesome. Food's awesome. There's always something to do.
Especially from like doing research before we came here, I think there was a bit of like a preconception that like Koreans are rude, where they're not at all. If they can see you trying to be as like culturally the same and like just make sure you're trying to do everything that without offending anyone, you know what I mean, that sort of thing, then they're lovely people.
If you see a person from Denmark in Korea and you guys meet in a bar and you look at each other's eyes, you're like, I'm from Denmark, you're from Denmark? He's like, yeah. Are you gonna like buy him a drink or something? Or you're just gonna be like, I don't care, get out of here?
For me, I would buy them a drink, but I think that depends on the person, how extroverted they are, because in general, like, Danes aren't the most extroverted people.
How about you? Would you be happy to see
I would be very happy. I would be very surprised. I don't feel like it's often I see somebody from my own country here traveling in Korea, so probably, yeah.
I gotta say, too, your guys' English is just, like, phenomenal.
I mean, we all learn English, or I mean, most people in Denmark learn English from a fairly young age.
Most people in the world learn English from a fairly young age.
In Denmark, it's more so because Denmark is such a small country, so we don't use our own language anywhere other than in Denmark with family. Barely even. Like, even like me and Lisa every now and then just switch to English for some reason.
Sometimes it's easier, huh?
Yeah, I also speak English with quite a lot, like huge part of my family as well.
Yeah, for foreigners learning Korean, it's a great language to learn because everyone's so helpful. And even if you make mistakes, they still hype you up. Like it's different to learning French, for example. I learned that for a bit. If you make a mistake in French, you know, you want to quit learning the language because they're a lot more like...
Judgmental?
I would say they seek perfection in people speaking their language. So in Korea, yeah, they're very... once they see you're making an effort learning the language, they're super, super nice to you.
Have you gone to Itaewon yet?
Yeah.
There's a lot of kebab places there and Turkish place. Is that nice to see, or you're like, I don't want to eat that? I can eat that in my own country.
No, actually, I needed that like kebab a lot, and like we did eat it, and we talked with the Turkish guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like fun to have some people from our country.
You got that like Turkish food recharge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Battery level up. Yeah. Guilty? Yeah, okay.
I think I was not expecting people to talk English that much, and I think like they know English at least like a little bit, that they can help us. They are also like friendly. Whenever like we want to dance in the streets, like whenever we want help, they always help. And I think like that's the Asian culture. They are always helpful to other people.
So it sounds like there's like a theme in Korea of just getting whatever you want whenever you want.
Yeah.
Push a button, yell at somebody.
Yeah.
It's here, it's ready, I want it, I can get it.
Yeah, I think like people would view it as like people not from Korea who have not been to Korea would view it as like impolite, but it's just like normal here. That it's like so normal that it is polite. It's like the polite thing to do. And like one time I think I tried to tip them and they like gave me the money back and I was like, oh, okay.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Sean, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.